Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My girlfriend gave a random guy her number right in front of me. My girlfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years. Today, we were getting coffee. She has a dog and brought her along with us. The place was busy with all kinds of people and families around. I left for a minute to get a drink, and when I came back, she was talking to some guy while he was petting the dog. I didn't think anything of it at first because people often come up to pet or talk about our dog until they took their phones out. I got a little uncomfortable, and she seemed a little uncomfortable as well. When I asked her what that was about and who he was, she waited until he left to talk. She said it was weird. I asked her why she gave him her number and if she told him she had a boyfriend. She did not tell him she had a boyfriend and later said she felt bad for not doing so. We talked and she said she was confused and flustered and would never meet up with him. She promised to do better and would block him. I couldn't help but think the worst and wonder if this was the first time this had happened and what would have happened if I wasn't there or what happens when she goes out. I later confronted her when we left and went home about the situation and asked her why I shouldn't just leave and if she wants to be with me or not. Her defense was that she was tired and was not expecting someone to ask for her number there. She thought he was just being nice. We later talked it out and I came to see her perspective that maybe it's sometimes hard to say no to a man hitting on you. She later apologized for me being so upset, but a part of me feels like it's not like she was in a dark alley alone at night. How hard was it to say the guy sitting across from you is your boyfriend and tell him no? We later kind of made up and watched a movie, but now she's upset about how I reacted to the situation, saying, "I've never seen this side of you." The way I reacted worried her and she wants to talk more. I guess I'd like some outside perspective. Did I overreact? Is what she did acceptable? Or is it some gray area? Thank you for reading and for any advice. Update. I mentioned this in a comment on the original post, but when she talked to me about how I reacted the next morning, she told me she was afraid of me and thought I would physically hurt her. She wanted me to promise that I would never hurt her physically. I said, "That's ridiculous. I would never hurt you and am offended you would think so." To clarify, the moment she is referring to is when we got home out in the parking lot, I raised my voice, "What were you thinking?" Then I went back to my car and drove off because I needed a break before we talked about it. I phoned a friend, then came back. At no point did I ever hit anything or touch her, nor have I ever in the past. I'll admit I have never raised my voice in any of our previous arguments. Anyway, after trying to talk about it a few more times, we found our discussion running in circles, and she said she needed space and wanted to stay in a hotel. I said I'd just stay at my parents' place for a few nights. After spending a few nights apart, we got together Tuesday to talk again. I asked her what's been on her mind, and she said she's sorry for what she did and had no idea this was going to be so triggering for me and promised to never do it again. I got a bit defensive and basically said she was wrong and I did not overreact. I told her my biggest issue was her believing I would ever hurt her and if she truly believed I would. She said in that moment, yes. We basically picked our hills to die on, where she believed I overreacted and I believe my reaction was justified. Then I just said, "What do we do now? Should we call it?" She said, "I don't know," and started crying and said she couldn't talk anymore and she didn't imagine this is how this conversation would go. I can't imagine being with somebody who is scared of me and where I overreacted, let alone build the trust again. I figured it's just best to call it. I wished her the best of luck and said it was great while it lasted. I reached out for a good time to grab my things and she said I could come by today. She also wanted to talk to me again for some closure and try to end on a better note. I started off by apologizing for raising my voice and that I would never physically hurt her. She said, "I know you wouldn't. I was just surprised." She also said the time we had together was great and she enjoyed it. She said she never imagined it ending so suddenly like this. We were both pretty teary. I asked her if she still wants to do this and she said, "Yeah, it's too late. The damage was done." I said okay and I'd start packing my things. It was awkward gathering my things with her father there. They were eating dinner and laughing and seemed to be having a great time, which left me admittedly a bit bitter in the moment. I got all my things and said goodbye. Then she asked for a hug and I hesitated but said okay. We hugged and said goodbye. My heart hurts, and maybe I made the wrong decision and should have done couple counseling first. But also, her saying she knew I wouldn't hurt her today made me feel like what you all were saying was true and I made the right choice. Thank you all for the advice. Working Hair said, man, I'm going through this with my wife right now. Not the numbers thing, but having any discussion about my feelings or emotions around a situation gets turned into me being wrong and me apologizing. I'm finally waking up. Our marriage counselor had us watch this video, It's Not About the Nail, and it's very clear to me that it's about her acknowledging my feelings in the moment, not arguing about who was right. But she does not get it. After months of sessions, the counselor has really helped me realize I'm not confident in expressing my emotions or feelings to her because of how she reacts. Of course, we just had another fight where she twisted it around again to make it about how I shouldn't feel the way I am. A year ago, I would have apologized, but I'm done. I stayed calm and rational instead of getting worked up. She says she gets it now. I don't know. We've been together for 10 years and married for 8, but I realize now how much work I've put into making her feel good, advancing goals of ours that are really just hers, all while getting nothing I ask for in return. I kept thinking if she was less stressed or the house was cleaner and more organized, she would be better, but it really hasn't changed. Never compromise being said, yikes. I'm glad he realized something deeper was happening when he was walking away from every confrontation, apologizing and compromising. Classic Darvo and gaslighting. Her dad being there on such short notice makes me wonder what she told her dad and, in the long run, what she's gonna tell others about their breakup. This next post was made in same subreddit by another throwaway account. The post is titled, My Sil disinvited my wife from her baby shower after a joke, but my brother still wants me to go. I am stuck in the middle. I am a 30-year-old man recently married to the love of my life, a 28-year-old woman, and I'm super close with my brother, who is 35. We always imagined our families being close too, until one single lunch ruined everything. My wife and I went out to eat with my brother and my sister-in-law, who is 31 and pregnant, about to give birth to my first nephew. Needless to say, we are all very excited. Mid-meal, my brother, probably feeling sentimental, said, "Man, I hope the baby turns out like me. He was such a cute kid." Now, a bit about my sister-in-law. She's usually nice and I like her, but she's definitely type A and a bit high maintenance. Without missing a beat, she shut my brother down. "No, I'd much rather he turns out like you." A bit of an awkward comment, and my brother probably thought so as well, so he said, "No, seriously, we'd be lucky if the kid was like me. He was such a nice and cute kid." Then my sister-in-law doubled down. "No, but you're so much more handsome," before turning to look directly at me and adding, "No offense." Now, look, I wasn't deeply offended. My brother is a very good-looking guy, so I get it. But who just says that out loud? My wife, who had been quiet up to this point, clearly found it rude. So she jokingly said, "Well, as long as the baby doesn't look like her, we should be fine." I chuckled. My brother laughed. My sister-in-law did not laugh. She immediately got pissed, glared at my wife, and said, "What the hell does that mean? That's extremely rude. We're not close enough for jokes like that." My wife was taken aback, and so was I. My brother tried to say something, but she stormed out. My brother followed her, looking about as confused as I felt. Fast forward to today, my sister-in-law has officially disinvited my wife from the baby shower and celebration. My wife says she doesn't even want to go, which is fair enough. My brother is devastated and really wants me to be there. Now, here's the thing. My brother adores me. He's always been my biggest supporter, and he wants me to be a big part of my nephew's life. He's having his first child, and this moment is really important to him. I love my brother too, and can't see him sad like that. He says both my wife and sister-in-law need to apologize eventually, but we shouldn't force it right now and should give them some time to cool off. He also thinks my sister-in-law owes me an apology for what she said, but again, pregnancy hormones or whatever, so he doesn't want to push it yet. My parents actually side with my wife and think my sister-in-law was out of line first, but they also believe I shouldn't miss such a huge moment in my brother's life and that we should cut my sister-in-law some slack because of her pregnancy. Here's my issue. I don't feel right going if my wife isn't welcome. I want to support her, but I also know this moment means the world to my brother. If I go, my wife might feel abandoned. If I don't, my brother will be heartbroken. I feel completely stuck. Update. Thanks everyone for the replies. I think I read almost every single one. I really appreciated the different perspectives. First, some clarifications. My wife is not a mean person. She made a joke in the moment, although I admit that it wasn't a great joke given the sensitivity of the situation. But she's genuinely one of the kindest, most caring people I know. That's one of the reasons I love her so much. I don't think my brother did anything wrong by bringing up the topic. We were reminiscing about childhood, and he probably got nostalgic about having his little brother following him everywhere. My brother and I resemble each other quite a bit, though he's definitely the better looking one. And just to be clear, that doesn't mean I'm insecure. If anything, he's the outlier. He's one of those people who naturally turns heads. Even when we were younger, he'd get random girls hitting on him wherever he went. It was such a running joke in our family that even my parents would tease him about it. The entire conversation lasted less than 5 minutes and escalated very quickly. I agree with the comments that all of us should have handled the situation better, but it's easier to say that in hindsight. In real time, things just got out of hand very quickly. I am sure that all of us regret what we said in the moment. Now, for the actual update. I told my wife that I wouldn't go unless she was also invited. She immediately told me that she didn't want to be the reason I missed it and that I should go if I wanted to. She even said she'd be willing to apologize if my sister-in-law was open to it, but that she wouldn't attend even if re-invited because she'd feel uncomfortable. I told her I appreciated that, but for me, it was both of us or none of us. Then I called my brother, and this is where I have to give him a lot of credit, because I know he was upset. He had really wanted me there, and I could hear the disappointment in his voice. But instead of pushing, he just said, "I get it, man, don't worry about it." I know that wasn't easy for him to say. He had to balance keeping things calm with his wife while also wanting his brother by his side. But he didn't guilt trip me, didn't try to convince me otherwise, he just let me make my choice. He even said, "Don't worry, we'll save you guys some food and I'll drop it off later." I offered to help with setup if he needed it and told him to say I have COVID to avoid awkward questions. He just laughed and said, "Got it, you caught the world's shortest COVID, just long enough for the baby shower, but miraculously recovered the next day." Now, here's where things got a bit more complicated. My mom was not happy with him for not sorting this out earlier. She felt like he should have stepped in and made peace before it got to the point where my wife was uninvited. But my parents didn't say anything directly because they didn't want to get involved in the drama. I think that really weighed on him. He was already trying to navigate a tough situation, and now he had our parents silently judging him too. It put him in an impossible position, trying to be a good husband, a good brother, and a good son all at once. A couple of days passed with no further drama. Then something unexpected happened. My wife got a call from my sister-in-law. At first, my wife panicked, thinking she was about to get yelled at, but instead, they actually had a really good conversation. I overheard bits of it, including my wife saying, "No, you're gorgeous," which made me laugh a little. After the call, my wife told me that my sister-in-law actually apologized first. She admitted that she'd been feeling really self-conscious about her looks during pregnancy and that my wife's joke had hit a sore spot. A little later, my brother called me. He told me that he had gently talked to my sister-in-law and helped her see that things had gotten out of hand. He also told me that knowing my wife was willing to apologize had made a huge difference. And then he admitted something. He had wanted to fix things before the baby shower, but he knew his wife was already under a lot of stress. He didn't want to add more pressure on her while she was in the middle of planning. And honestly, I respect that. My sister-in-law is one of those people who needs everything to be perfect. Her look, my brother's look, the house, the decorations, etc. So I can understand the pressure she must have put on herself. And my brother knew that pushing her while she was stressed wouldn't have helped, so he waited. And after the event, when things calmed down, he quietly stepped in and fixed things. So where do things stand now? Things seem good on the surface. My wife and my sister-in-law made peace and my brother and I are fine. My wife and I have decided to just be extra sensitive around my sister-in-law given what she is going through. All in all, the situation seems to have brought us somewhat closer together. The real takeaway, I have an amazing wife, but her humor could use some work. Also, my brother isn't too bad. Side note, speaking of whom, my brother will probably never see this because he only uses Reddit for sports and news, but in the off chance he does, well, guess I'm busted. But since I have your attention, I'll admit something just this once. You are the best brother I could have asked for. That time you helped me with university, I don't think you know how much it really meant to me. And when I was at a really low point, you stood by me. I don't think I've ever said it, but I've always appreciated that. Of course, I won't ever admit this in person and will forever deny I ever wrote this. Edit. Everyone keeps asking why my wife didn't apologize first. I thought I made it clear in the post, but maybe not. My wife was going to apologize, but wanted to check if my sister-in-law was open to it. She had just been uninvited, so we had no idea whether my sister-in-law was even open to talking to her. I had told my brother that my wife wanted to apologize, and if he had given us the green light, my wife would have absolutely called. Instead, my sister-in-law decided to call once my brother told her that my wife wanted to apologize. That was her being the bigger person. Jardine said, "My son is quite literally my brother's clone. He and his wife visited for Christmas and people genuinely thought my child was theirs since the resemblance is so strong. I don't look anything like my brother and he and my husband could literally be on opposite ends of an axis. Genetics are weird." Hippie Nay said, "Honestly, this is a pretty solid ending. OP stuck up for his wife and put her needs first. His brother stood up for the mother of his child and put her needs first. The parents let the adults handle their business. The sister-in-law is going through pregnancy hormones, but still came around to realize the situation boiled down to her insecurities. Everyone talked and now everything is okay. Nobody is perfect, but this is what being mature adults looks like." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.